I get to teach parents authoritative parenting practices, and we kind of do this back and forth. So this dad wrote me this question and said, this was about specifically about after school, before dinner, like what to do in that window there when our restraints are often collapsing and we're melting down. He said, that sounds great in theory. When my kids get home, they immediately start pushing each other's buttons and vying for alpha male status. How can we have both the benefits of unstructured time with enough structure to avoid their default impulses? And this is a great question that gets to a lot of the hearts of the matter when it comes to like, yeah, it'd be great if they could just play, but they just bother each other. And what are we supposed to do? And so what I want to say first and foremost is when we talk about the button pushing that siblings often do to each other, this isn't malice. It is stimulation seeking. And yes, they could fire up their, Xbox and play some Fortnite to get that stimulation, but their sibling is right there. And it's much faster than turning on the video game or finding the iPad or anything else that they could do is just to bother their siblings. And so that happens. One explodes, the other explodes. The behaviors get reinforced. Yes, it is annoying to us as parents. It is often annoying from sibling to sibling, but it also is exciting. It gets a rise out of them. All those sorts of things cause it to be reinforced. And so reframing this as less them trying to bother each other or trying to bother you as a parent and more two depleted kids that are seeking some input. And so what I told this dad and what I would tell parents in general is that prevention really beats refereeing. And so instead of policing the fallout, what we're going to do is really try and structure the landing to be successful. Now, I've told parents, and this lesson that I was giving them was all about that this is a predictable window because parents always think something's going to go different and today will be the day, but today is going to be like yesterday, is going to be like last week, is going to be like 3 weeks ago if we're doing the same sorts of things. And so the first thing to do is refuel. And you can refuel on the way home. You can refuel when you get home. It's not going to ruin their dinner. It is more important to get them some water and some protein and a little bit of decompression time before you allow them to be in the same space, expecting them to kind of like figure out what to do or just have some playtime, just play together, that sort of thing. Now, what you can also do is try and build in some separation during that time. Maybe they have some parallel activities that they're doing that are in different spaces, like parallel, but very far apart from each other, like a different part of the room or a different room or something like that. What do you like to do to decompress? I know that you really like to color, so let's have you do some coloring to decompress, something along those lines. If we can create a predictable routine or a short menu, not, like the menu at one of those restaurants that has like 17 pages, but like 3 different things that they can choose from after school that are separate, then what that does is it gives them some agency and autonomy, but it helps them to make a choice rather than getting stuck on, well, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? I'm too exhausted to make that choice. In doing this, engineering for fewer collisions when they are able to refuel, they're able to decompress, and they're able to have a little bit of time apart. Now, once we've got that down, I think it's fine to say, hey, do you guys want to play together? You want to play a game? You want to go, play some sports together, run around outside, have some activities, just have some free time. What you're going to do then is you're going to expect that they will still bother each other. But I do see that this typically gets less when we've done the above of getting them fueled, getting them decompressed, those sorts of things. Stop reinforcing the behaviors by reacting in a big way, because next to their sibling, the person that's going to give them that instant stimulation is also their parent responding in a big voice, in a big way, in a why can't you always, or a long lecture or separating or timeouts or those sorts of things. If you don't get pulled into what was going on or trying to investigate or really getting into it, you will not see as much of an issue because they will find that this doesn't get them the stimulation that it used to. And so I'm going to find something else. It might be bothering my sibling, but maybe I've decompressed enough that I really don't need to go seeking that sort of stimulation. Respond in a boring way. Oh, it looks like we're having a difficult moment. Let's separate. Oh, why don't you go color? I like the word ope because it's hard to do that when you're screaming and yelling, but the Midwestern ope is really a great way to start the ope. We're going to have to move you guys apart. Oh, we can't be together right now. Oh, let's move this way and that way. You can give some warmth to the child that was, the injured party. Give the instigator a chance to calm down and make it an undramatic redirection. And if later you want to say, hey, I know that you were upset earlier. I know that you're tired and overwhelmed. And sometimes your brother really bothers you or your sister really bothers you in those moments. Lectures come later. when we have calmed back down. And so that was kind of how I responded to this parent. Authoritative parenting practices are not easy, but they do work really well. Authoritative is both warm and has boundaries. It is connected, but it also has limits and expectations in place. And so if this is something that's of interest to you, if you're like, yeah, I need to do this, I think a lot of parents mistake permissive and authoritarian for like two extremes. And then if you just turn the dial to the middle, you find authoritative. But actually, all four of them, of the parenting approaches, are on two axes. You have a warmth connectedness, and then you have, expectations, limits, demandingness side of things. And so authoritative parenting emphasizes both warmth and connection and boundaries and limits. And it's the one that's been shown both in short-term outcomes of like the parenting struggles that we face on a day-to-day, but also in long-term outcomes of, preparing the child to be a self-sufficient, independent, nice adult. Best outcomes for both of those. So if you're interested in learning more, check out the link in the description. I have another cohort starting where I teach parents the authoritative practices, and I would love to help you and your partner to get on the same page with more authoritative practices. And in the meantime, keep up the good work and try to make those afternoons a little bit easier by not getting dragged into all of the sibling squabbles, and do the things that I suggested above to try and be proactive in preventing them.